Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today. This is your primetime destination news. Newsmakers talking points. Our big talking point is coming from Bangladesh, where former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has got the death penalty from a tribunal. What happens next? Also, the Parivar war. Lalu's family split wide open. Our family-based parties running out of time and currency. Also, Sunil Gavaskar will join us on the Eden Garden pitch row. Yes, you're with the news today, India's only primetime show that brings you the news without the noise. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. Former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina gets the death penalty. The Yunus government calls the verdict historic. Bangladesh wants India to extradite her. Hasina rejects charges, cries that it's a witch hunt. NIA makes a second arrest in the Red Fort blast case. Accused Jasir Bilal Wani provided tech support for terror attacks. Home Minister Shah issues an ultimatum, vows to hunt down the culprits even from hell. Indian Army also has a warning to Pakistan after the Delhi Red Fort blast. Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi says Operation Sindoor is just a trailer. Picture abhi baki hai. 42 Indian pilgrims are charged to death after a bus collides with a tanker in Mecca. 18 people of a single family perish. External Affairs Ministry assures support to victims' families. Nitish 10.0 government loading in Bihar. Oath ceremony slated on November 20th in Patna's Gandhi Maidan. Prime Minister Modi to attend Nitish Kumar's swearing-in ceremony. Amidst a raging family feud, Lalu Yadav endorses son Tejasvi's leadership. RJD chief backed his son during a meeting with newly elected MLAs, even as his daughters have left the house. Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah meets Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge, says came to Delhi to seek High Command's nod for a cabinet reshuffle. BJP mocks the Congress, says cabinet rejig to sideline DK Shivkumar. Amidst a pan-India SIR exercise, 2 BLOs die by suicide in Kerala and Rajasthan, each allegedly due to mental pressure. Whole body announces beginning of process in Assam from January 1. In a sharp reversal, Donald Trump calls on House Republicans to vote to release Epstein files, says Republicans should do so because they have nothing to hide. Okay, let's turn though to the big story that's breaking. Bangladesh's acting head, Mohammad Yunus, has called the Hasina verdict, where she's been given the death penalty, a verdict that has offered justice to thousands. Bangladesh is now seeking Sheikh Hasina's extradition. The Bangladesh government wants India to extradite Sheikh Hasina, who's been here since August last year. The Bangladesh government says sheltering a mass murderer is an act of enmity. The Ministry of External Affairs says India has noted the verdict on Sheikh Hasina. The MEA says India committed to the best interests of the people of Bangladesh. So India being put in a spot by that death penalty verdict there in Dhaka. What should India do? What is India likely to do next? Geeta Mohan, Diplomatic Affairs Editor, joining me. Ahmed Mabroor, Editor, Bangladesh News, joining me from Dhaka. First to you, Geeta. Bangladesh making it clear that Sheikh Hasina must be extradited to Bangladesh at the earliest after this death penalty. Is India looking at a via media now?
Well, Rajdeep, they have invoked the extradition treaty between Dhaka and New Delhi. But this is a very guarded statement that's coming from New Delhi, given that they need to engage Bangladesh and yet need to protect Sheikh Hasina in a way.
Bangladesh is acting. Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Also, go ahead, Geeta.
Right, and they also need to protect Sheikh Hasina in many ways than one. So are they going to look at a third country is something we'll have to wait and see. For now, the caveat within the extradition treaty is important, where political prisoners, people seeking asylum because of political persecution, and ones who have been given a death penalty or very serious crimes being charged against them in a court that by unelected governments are caveats within the extradition treaty. So yes, India is going to use those those caveats, not extradite her anytime soon, but they will be looking at options where India is not left in an uncomfortable position with a very, very near neighbor, that's Bangladesh. So is this going to be another country, or will Sheikh Hasina be hosted over here? And the respect that India needs to accord to Awami League, given that all other political parties in Bangladesh are never going to be pro-India, Rajdeep. They're always going to be anti-India.
Right.
And so India needs to invest in Awami League.
Well, we wait and see whether India will therefore allow Sheikh Hasina to stay on. There's even talk that she could be tempted to move to Dubai, a country with which Bangladesh has good equations. We are also joined by Ahmed Mabrur, editor, Bangladesh News. Ahmed, can you tell us what the mood on the ground there in Dhaka is after this big verdict? I know that the line isn't the best, but a quick response from you.
Okay. First of all, thank you for inviting me. Right now, Bangladesh is quite peaceful. Actually, some people expected that immediate after the verdict, as a reaction, there may be some chaos or turmoil or some violences, but so far, Dhaka is quite normal, and people are leading almost a normal life. So I am not watching anything abnormal or anything concerning.
So where are the Awami, are you saying the Awami League supporters are completely silent at the moment? They haven't responded?
Yeah, they are actually they're working in the social media. I think that is their position, but not on the street. So far, in last couple of days, Awami League protesters, they have made some small procession or some cocktail blast or something else, but that actually didn't affect the life. Actually, that Dhaka is a very much densely populated city. And although Awami League has tried the level, but I think they have failed to actually hold the citizen life.
Okay, so what you are saying, no protest there at the moment over that verdict from the Awami League. Clearly, the government fully in control. Ahmed, I appreciate you joining us for that quick response. We're having a bit of a problem with his line. Remember, all of this has happened on a day when Bangladesh's International Crimes Tribunal has sentenced their former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to death for crimes against humanity after a government's violent crackdown on student-led protests last year. The court held that Hasina knew about the firing and used lethal weapons against the protesters, calling it a grave violation of human rights. Hasina has hit back and said that the entire court was a kangaroo court and has been a witch hunt against her. Take a look at our top story.
Dhaka is erupting again. Streets packed with protesters, police in full gear, and a capital bracing for unrest. Bangladesh's International Crimes Tribunal on Monday sentenced Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to death for the crackdown she ordered on student protesters in 2024 that led to the loss of many lives. As the verdict was read out, the courtroom erupted with claps, cheers. The tribunal found Hasina guilty of crimes against humanity, including conspiracy to commit mass killings. The tribunal held that the former Prime Minister knowingly authorized a brutal state crackdown. The court ordered death sentence on the charge of Hasina ordering to kill protesters and on the charge of Hasina's failure to prevent atrocities.
She committed the same crime, that is the crime against humanity, on another count for causing the killings at Ashulia of Sabah, killing of 6 persons. For all these 3 counts, we have decided to inflict her with only one sentence, that is sentence of death.
And while the courtroom celebrated, outside members of a party, Awami League, took to the streets, protesting the judgment, calling it judicial assassination and warning of a dark precedent. With tensions climbing, Dhaka is now under an unprecedented security blanket. Sheikh Hasina is currently in India, where she has taken asylum, at a time when her country finds itself at crossroads. Reacting to the verdict, oust Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina called the ruling biased, politically motivated and issued by a rigged tribunal with no democratic mandate. Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining me now is a very close aide of Sheikh Hasina, Mohammad Arafat, former INB Minister of Bangladesh, joins me from an undisclosed location. Appreciate your joining us there, Mr. Arafat. Your first reactions to that verdict, which has given the death penalty to the former Prime Minister.
Well, this was well predicted. We knew this is how the verdict is going to come out because this outcome was pre-decided and it was all predetermined. So therefore, the verdict that you see, this preceded the trial, basically. So we are not surprised at all.
You're saying you're not surprised at all, but the charges that were made were very specific, and this, remember, has got the backing of the Yunus government, the chief advisor to Bangladesh. Are you saying that this entire judiciary has been captured in a way by the Yunus government or by critics of Sheikh Hasina?
Just take a look at who are the judges. One of the judges, Mr. Shafiul Alam Mahmood, he was never a judge. He was just appointed judge in the High Court only 6 days before he was placed into the tribunal. He was linked with the BNP politics. He was the organizing secretary of the BNP's Lawyers Forum. Look at who's the chief prosecutor. He's the one who defended the war criminals who committed war crimes in 1971. So look at even the defense lawyer that appointed by the state for Sheikh Hasina. He's also part of the same team. So it is a completely rigged trial. It's you know, and the way they amended the law and reconstituted the whole tribunal. This tribunal was constituted under the Act 1973 to try the war criminals who committed war crime in 1971. This tribunal does not have any other mandate whatsoever, but they amended it without having a parliament passing that law. So it is absolutely a farce. It's a sham. It is just a show that they're staging. Even so the judges, the prosecution. Yeah.
So how do you respond to the demand which is now being made by the Bangladesh government to India that Sheikh Hasina must be extradited under the extradition pact between the two countries?
I pay no attention to this demand. Who are demanding it? The government who seized power by themselves, illegally, unconstitutionally. It's an illegal and unconstitutional government. Who cares about what they're demanding? They need to go. There has to be a democratically elected government. There has to be a democratic election, inclusive election, and the power has to go back to the people. The rule of law needs to return to this country. And then only there will be some dialogue or whatever you have to pay attention. It is a government, Yunus is a...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yunus is backed by the jihadist, the terrorist, the Islamist, the extremist, Jamaat who oppose the very liberation of this country. They have now captured the power. They infiltrated into the administration. They're running the country. Just think about it. When the verdict was being announced, why another group of people were marching toward the residents of Bangabandhu on road number 32 with the bulldozer?
So what do you expect the Indian government? So what do you expect the Indian government to do? Because India is now being put, Mr. Arafat, as you know, in a bind. The Bangladesh regime, you're saying it's an illegal government, but they're putting pressure on India that India must extradite Sheikh Hasina at the earliest.
See, there's no pressure there. They're just saying it. And because they have to say it just for the sake of it, I don't think so. I mean, not only India, no other country in the world will have to worry about anything that comes from Yunus government, which is an unconstitutional and illegal government whatsoever. Now, India, including India, rest of the world should only focus on to get the democracy back to Bangladesh and the rule of law back to Bangladesh. That's what we need to focus on.
So what happens next? What happens next, Mr. Arafat? What according to you happens next? There's talk of elections being held early next year.
Yes. So now see, not only this is the kind of a drama that they were staging in the guise of a judicial process and sentencing Sheikh Hasina, but also they're going ahead with another rigged election, completely blocking Awami League, Jatiyo Party, 14-party alliances, those who account for, more than 50% of the people. So it is another pre-decided election they're going to go ahead with. So basically what we have to do is, with the support of the people of the country and international community, Awami League, through the political process and peaceful process, will try to get the power back to the people. And this is what we are going to focus on. We have to fight to get the country back.
You're saying you're going to fight to get the country back. Most of you are in undisclosed locations, many of you outside the country. You think it's possible that you can return to Bangladesh? You see Hasina at some stage returning to Bangladesh and fighting elections?
See, the thing is, those of our, the leaders, more than 100 MPs and the ministers, they're in the jail. They just put them in jail without any, and denied bail. And anyone they find in Bangladesh, they're putting them in jail. Therefore, we have to be careful about it. And we're still, no matter where we are, we're coordinating with our activists. We're organizing them, and we're going to eventually do whatever it takes to get the country back.
Okay, going to do whatever it takes to once again get, you're saying, Bangladesh as you see it back on track. You're joining me from an undisclosed location. I appreciate Mr. Arafat, Mohammad Arafat, former INB Minister, close aide of Sheikh Hasina, joining me here on the Top of News today. Let me turn from there to our other big story, which is a political story, because it's barely 72 hours since the BJP trounced, or the BJP-led NDA trounced the RJD, which has suffered one of its biggest blows, and we've seen a seismic rift within the RJD first family. Lalu Prasad Yadav's daughter Rohini Acharya, who left the family and RJD on Saturday, once again slammed her brother Tejasvi and his aides, particularly the aides, for the feud in the family. Lalu Yadav's family is facing a situation where it's now split wide open, even as he himself today endorsed Tejasvi Yadav's leadership. Take a look at Parivar war in the Yadavs.
4 days after the huge setback suffered in Bihar Assembly elections, newly elected MLAs of the Rashtriya Janata Dal met at Tejasvi Yadav's residence in Patna on Monday. At the meeting, Lalu Yadav endorsed Tejasvi's leadership. Sources tell India Today, Tejasvi said he had not anticipated the election outcome. He took feedback on each seat from the candidates on reasons for their loss. Tejasvi asked the candidates to gather evidence if there was any foul play.
ये बैठक जो है राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष पार्टी के सुप्रीमो लालू प्रसाद यादव और पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री की उपस्थिति में हुई। सर्वसम्मति से विधायक दल का नेता तेजस्वी प्रसाद यादव जी को चुना जाए। सब लोगों ने सर्वसम्मति से उनको चुना।
Lalu's endorsements could not have come at a better time for Tejasvi. Family stands divided after the election debacle. The war between the siblings is out in the open.
घर से निकाल दिया जाएगा, आपको बदनाम किया जाएगा, आपको गाली दिलवाया जाएगा, आपके ऊपर चप्पल उठा करके मारा जाएगा।
Daughter of RJD Supremo, Rohini Acharya, has leveled serious allegations against her own family, including getting thrashed by slipper and threat from brother Tejasvi.
नहीं, मेरा कोई परिवार नहीं है। अब ये जाकर के आप संजय, रमीज, तेजस्वी यादव से पूछिए, मेरा कोई परिवार नहीं है। वही लोग निकाला है हमको परिवार से, क्योंकि रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेना नहीं है उनको। पूरा दुनिया बोल रहा है जो चाणक्य बनेगा तो चाणक्य से आप सवाल पूछिएगा। जब कार्यकर्ता चाणक्य से सवाल कर रहा है, पूरा देश दुनिया सवाल कर रहा है कि पार्टी का ये ऐसा हाल क्यों हुआ। अब जब संजय और रमीज इन लोग का नाम लीजिए तो आपको घर से निकाल दिया जाएगा, आपको बदनाम किया जाएगा, आपको गाली दिलवाया जाएगा, आपके ऊपर चप्पल उठा करके मारा जाएगा।
The infighting in Yadav Parivar came out in open a day after RJD lost miserably in Bihar polls. Rohini, in a post on X, claimed that she was cursed and called dirty and regrets giving kidney to her father. Sources revealed that Rohini and Tejasvi had an angry tiff over poll loss in front of Lali and Rabri. Lalu's daughter blamed Tejasvi and his coterie for the wipeout. Tejasvi objected to sisters' barbs and reportedly flew into a rage, even raising his slippers to beat up Rohini. Mother Rabri and sister Misa intervened to save Rohini. A shattered Rohini soon left for Delhi in a huff. Just months back, Lalu's elder son, Tej Pratap, was expelled from party and family after he revealed his extramarital relationship and deleted his post. Tej Pratap has now come out to back Rohini and warned that he won't accept insult to his sister. Has the double whammy of a poll rout and a family feud delivered a crippling blow to Lalu clan? With Rohit Singh in Patna, Bureau Report, India Today.
So as the family feud in the Rashtriya Janata Dal plays out in the open after that Bihar election debacle, I want to raise some big questions. Are family-based parties running out of currency? Are dynasties losing steam or are they still in vogue? Are dynasties against the spirit of democracy? My first guest is Karthi Chidambaram, MP from the Congress Party. Appreciate your joining us, Karthi Chidambaram. Do you agree that family-based parties are now subject to diminishing returns? People want parties based on meritocracy, not handed out from one generation to the next as if it's a family heirloom or treasure.
Rajdeep, most political parties in India have a family in their centrality. Except for, I think, one or two political parties, every political party, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, are family-centric. This is a South Asian phenomenon.
No, the BJP and the left, with due regard, sir, are not. Let's, whatever else, the BJP and the
Obviously,
left, the BJP president is not appointed party president because he's the son or daughter of someone. Neither does that happen in the left. But in the Congress party, and as Shashi Tharoor, your own leader, was quoted recently, it was almost as if the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty had ensured that political leadership was birthright.
Obviously, you didn't listen to my what I said earlier.
Yes.
I clearly said that except for one or two political parties, all other political parties are family-centric. I did accept that there are exceptions, but vast majority of political parties, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, have a family in their centrality. That is the socio-economic phenomena, political phenomena of South Asia. Yes, it will change. It will change over a period of time. So there are parties which have families in their centrality, which continue to win at times, and there are families which have their centrality in them, which don't do very well in elections. Even in the recent elections of Bihar, what would you consider the late Ramvilas Paswan's party, my friend Chirag Paswan? Would you consider? Do you think the BJP found him in a talent contest, or did they align with the TDP with Nara Lokesh after identifying him in some sort of an entrance exam from the IIT? They are also family-run parties. The BJP aligns with them. So there are family-run parties which are successful at times, and there are family-run parties which are not successful at times. I don't think people reject parties merely because they're family-run. There are other political factors which come into play, why parties win elections and why parties lose elections.
But do you agree that broadly it's subject to diminishing returns, that family-based parties, in a sense, are a closed shop for others to occupy the leadership position, and in a new India, you need to move away from that? Do you agree that we need to move away from family-based parties in the fastest possible time possible?
I think so. I think we should. Since you're a cricket fan, I mean, the greatest democratic exercise in India has happened in the cricket team. You look at the composition of the cricket team today, they come from aspirational small towns of India. Yes, political parties must change, but perhaps they will change, but over a period of time. So this is not an accusation you can only make on one political party. There are many, many political parties which are still family run, and I accept they are fairly closed shops. But that's the social reality of our politics. It's not just of India, of South Asia. Look what's happening in Pakistan. Look what happened in Bangladesh. Look what happened in Sri Lanka. Primary political parties are still family controlled. Yes, there are times when other forces, I know that we've had a different kind of a political scenario in Bangladesh, Nepal and Sri Lanka right now. But I'm not ever suggesting that any of that thing is perhaps going to happen in India. Yes, parties must transform themselves, but it will take time. As Indian society transforms, that transformation will also happen in parties. Even the two examples you gave of Communist Party and the BJP, the Communist Party is not successful. Yes, I agree that the Communist Party is meritocratic, but the people don't seem to be rewarding the Communist Party because of that.
You know,
So
it's very...
there are success models on either side.
You know, that is very interesting you mentioned cricket. Let me take that analogy. My father played for cricket for India. That doesn't mean that I could play cricket for India. And I wasn't good enough because it was merit driven. On the other hand, Karti Chidambaram can become an MP because P. Chidambaram is a politician. So it's spread right across parties, across MPs, and worse still, family-based parties are in a way, many believe, working against the interests of true democracy.
See, as I said, it's a social phenomenon in India where families still play a central role in the societal structure. It will change over a period of time. Yes, I am a legatee, and I probably got a fast track to getting a ticket because of my father's son. But that did not prevent me from losing the 2014 election, did it? The 2014 election, the political equation was not stacked up in our favor, and I lost the election in 2014. I won in 2019 and 24 only because the political equation favored me. So just because you come from a political family, there's no guarantee of success. Yes, political parties have to transform, but you can't disqualify somebody only because they are somebody's. They come from a political family. I accept that we must become more meritocratic. The party leaderships must open up, but that's not something which is just confined to a political party.
And that's true of the Congress party as well.
Which is there in
how will you respond? How will you respond to those who suggest that the Congress party has also become a family inheritance? A party that was seen to be at one stage a mass movement has become a family inheritance. No one outside the Nehru-Gandhi family, it seems now, can take up true leadership and drive your party forward. You agree or not?
I completely agree with that. But the average worker in the Congress party buys into that leadership. But that is also a fact. I mean, while I agree that there is a predominant family which is the centrality of the political party, but I must also state that there is wide acceptance for that leadership structure within the party. Okay. There doesn't seem to be any kind of clamor to change that structure. Almost 99% of the party members accept that structure. That might not cut eyes with critics or with the general population, but the party cadre seem to accept that, and that's the case in the DMK. That's the case with the National Conference. That's the case with the Akalis. That's the case with the Shiv Sena and the breakaway Shiv Sena. The breakaway Shiv Sena also is following the same model. That is the case even with the TMC, which breaks away from the Congress. That is the case with the Nationalist Congress, which broke away from the Congress party. That is the case with the TDP. That is the case with the YSRCP.
We can go on and on, but in conclusion, when you see what's happening in the RJD, the family feud playing out in public, do you agree that it sends out completely the wrong signal?
That's their internal matter, whether it's up to the family and to that political party to sort it out. We have seen a similar spat happen in the DMK as well. We've seen a similar spat happen in the TDP, between father-in-law and son-in-law, and between Cobra and brothers-in-law. We have seen that happen. So when there are multiple family members vying for the leadership role, it happens. So this happens in business empires. This happens in political parties as well.
Let me leave it there, Karti Chidambaram. You're being pretty candid on that question. I appreciate you joining me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's widen that debate on family-based parties. Joining me now, two special guests. Tavleen Singh, columnist and author, joins me. And Sanjay Jha, formerly of the Congress, now a suspended Congress spokesperson, joins me, and political analyst. Appreciate both of you joining us. Tavleen Singh, to you first. I just had Karti Chidambaram tell me that family-based parties or dynasties are a South Asian phenomenon. The people support them. So why should pundits oppose them, is what he says.
You should ask him if anyone would dare to oppose them. That's the question. When you have, for instance, when it started actually in my early journalistic career with Sanjay Gandhi under the emergency, where he was very insidiously brought in by Indira Gandhi and handed over not just the Congress party, but India, right? Who was going to oppose Sanjay Gandhi? In the Statesman office, we would get instructions every day from the PIB saying, put his picture on the front page, etc. So, you know, these guys, they talk like that without realizing that nobody can oppose them.
And do you think it's subject to diminishing returns? Tavleen Singh, you spoke about the 1970s, how Indira Gandhi institutionalized almost the idea of dynasty within the Congress party. Now everyone's taken a cue across regional parties, across every party. Is 2025 very different? You believe India has changed in some way? The voters have changed?
I think they have. I think that in Bihar, the rejection of Tejasvi is a sign of that. Because do you remember that earlier on, it was Rabri that he handed over Bihar to, and there wasn't that much opposition. But this time they've actually voted against. So I think that there is, and now when I travel, I haven't been in Bihar this time, but whenever I've traveled and asked people during an election whether they like this, they laugh, right? And they sometimes, because the thing with political dynasties is that they're very powerful. So, when you have a daddy or a mummy who's extremely powerful, people are scared. They're kind of bahubalis in a different way, but they cause much damage to Indian democracy.
It's interesting the way you're putting it, because Sanjay Jha, are we clear that this is now subject to diminishing returns? Because we've seen a number of them return to power also, including family-based parties. We've seen the National Conference win in Jammu and Kashmir only last year. We've seen the DMK win, the Trinamool Congress, the Telugu Desam. Should we read too much into this Bihar verdict and what's happened to the first family of the Yadavs subsequently?
Rajdeep, my view is very explicit here, and an emphatic no. Like caste, family dynasty in Indian politics is a reality. And let's look at some hard data, actually. I looked up some data before your program. Out of the 5,203 MLAs, MPs, MLCs put together, around 21%, that's 1/5 of the elected people or even indirectly elected people are from family dynasties. So, and this cuts across all political parties. Very interestingly, Rajdeep, 18% of BJP's elected legislators, both in parliament and in states, are from political families. So this is basically, in my opinion, the hard truth that we need to accept.
No, but is there a difference, if I may just intervene, a difference between people becoming MPs and MLAs because someone in the family is also an MP and MLA, and family-run parties where the leadership is almost an entitlement to someone from a particular family, then whether it's the Congress party or whether it's some of these regional parties?
Well, let me answer that by telling you there's a very convenient classification, right? Which is what the BJP has used to target the Gandhis. They come and say, well, we agree that Dushyant Singh and whether it's Jyotiraditya Scindia and Anurag Thakur, Piyush Goyal, etc. But they're not leaders. But they could be leaders unless the BJP is sending out the message that these guys will never become the head of the BJP. But even look at Bihar. I think Tavleen mentioned Bihar. I can tell you in Bihar, RJD is still the single largest party in vote share. Chirag Paswan, in my opinion, is the X factor of the Bihar elections. I don't know how people have missed that. It is his 6 to 7% votes that have made the NDA the formidable player in Bihar in this election and highly successful. If you look at Akhilesh, Samajwadi Party did remarkably well in Uttar Pradesh last year. That was the year of the Ram Janambhoomi and the Ram Temple's consecration. So I do believe that we got to accept the truth that family dynasties have a legitimate right to be there in politics for the simple reason that they get a public mandate. And I'm not going to argue for or against it. I do believe that, yes, as long as performance is recognized even within a family structure, nothing is wrong. But I will concede, right, that the problem with family parties is that they end up being parochial, they even become monarchies, and end of day, you will say this is not democratically a feasible long-term solution to the problems we have.
Tavleen Singh, that's interesting what Sanjay Jha is attempting to suggest, that he says if people choose, the argument made is if people choose these parties, then these parties derive a certain legitimacy. Do you believe that that legitimacy only comes from elections, or does it come, or are they fundamentally anti-democratic? The idea that a particular post is reserved for someone from a family is anti-democratic. It can happen in corporate boardrooms. It shouldn't be happening with political parties in a democracy.
No, but the whole point about coming into public life is you come to serve the people. When you have these dynastic parties, and particularly, and Sanjay is quite wrong, when you have a political party as your inheritance, it's very different to coming from a political family and standing for election. You own that political party, and then the state that you rule becomes like it's democratic feudalism. It's electoral feudalism, and it has seriously harmed Indian democracy, in my view, because people who have a desire to serve the public are often rejected in favor of some little useless heir who's never held a job down before. So, I mean, it is a reality, but it's an ugly reality, and we shouldn't call it legitimate. It is feudalism.
But how will that change? How, in your view, will that change? We saw Prashant Kishore, for example, in Bihar, claiming that he was the outsider, that he was going to challenge these sort of the entrenched party loyalties. What happened? He ended up with a 0. So I just wonder, how is any of this ever going to change, even as we see this Yadav Parivarwad play out in public?
It takes, that's the hope, that they all start fighting with each other and then they destroy themselves. Because really what they're doing is they've turned politics into, it's not a company, it's in a corporation. You have a right to hand that over to your children. You don't have the right to hand over Maharashtra to your heirs. Or India. Please, let's be serious about this. It is a reality. It's an ugly reality. And the quicker they start fighting with each other, the bigger our hopes of real democracy.
So in conclusion, Sanjay Jha, the word that Tavleen used, which struck with me, is democratic feudalism. It is democratic feudalism. Now, you would hope that a modern democracy in the 21st century would challenge feudal tendencies. And you and I should be encouraging that, rather than saying, look, this is the reality, we can't do anything about it.
Well, Rajdeep, as a lateral, as an outsider in Indian politics, I actually came from out of the blue into politics. I should be speaking against the family dominance in Indian politics, but I don't, because I'm very pragmatic and practical about the realities of India. It's good to think of a utopian concept, yes, but at the end of the day, I also recognize I've seen family leaders at very close quarters, and I realize they have magnetic power. I mean, it's some kind of an emotional hold, and that is the right of the people of the country. I am no one to deny the rights of the choices that people make. I want to make 2 points to what Tavleen added. I agree that there are issues that we need to resolve, but I would worry about the fact that in our country, we don't address the fundamental problems that are much bigger than Parivarwad. 46% of our MPs in the Lok Sabha are criminals. They have criminal antecedents. And Rajdeep, some of them are serious. Around 31% are serious, including rape, murder, arson, loot. And we are okay with that. We are kosher with that. But we are worried about a family.
And what's your second point?
We need to be very clear there. The second is political funding. If you don't, electoral bonds is history. And to my mind, that was the most corrupt mafia operation in political legitimacy in this country. So democracy has bigger challenges, in my opinion. Parivarwad is not such a big issue. It becomes very emotive because the Gandhi family is a low-hanging fruit. Everyone loves to whack left, right, and center. But I do feel we should address the bigger problems of criminalization of Indian politics.
You make a good point. You make a good point. I'll give Tavleen the final word then. Sanjay Jha says focus on the criminalization of politics, the capture of the state apparatus. That's where the real anti-democratic tendencies are. Parivarwad at the end of the day can be, in a sense, justified because according to him, if that's what the people want, that's what they'll get. Should we be focusing on Parivarwad and making the Gandhis, as he claims, a soft target? Or indeed the Yadavs?
He works for the Gandhis. He can't speak against them, okay? So I'm not.
He used to work for them, but go ahead.
You can't say anything against the Gandhi family if you've had anything to do with the Congress. No, what you need to think about, Mr. Jha, is that why do they want to be in politics? They're not doing it. They're not coming in for public service. They're coming in to make money. And to me, corruption is as bad as, anti-democratic as criminals in politics. Those criminals, these are also, in a way, criminals because they are in politics to make money. There's no other reason. They're not there for public service.
But that's not true only of families, Tavleen. That's true of a number of politicians who may not even be linked to politics, who are also corrupting our political landscape. So
absolutely, absolutely. But these guys come with a head start.
Okay. Let me leave it there.
Give me 10 seconds, Rajdeep.
Okay, 10 seconds only. Yes, Sanjay, 10 seconds.
Tavleen, firstly, I don't work for the Gandhis. In fact, I have been critical of them when they have gone wrong. You have admired Mr. Modi, but let me tell you, you have been critical of the Gandhis in your book, Delhi Darbar, which I read. And guess what? Maneka Gandhi and Varun Gandhi, famous Gandhis, by the way, are part of the BJP that Mr. Modi actually uses. And that's a great paradox of Indian politics.
What's your point? What's your point?
My point is that the BJP is guilty of dynastic politics like nobody else. They are using the Gandhi name, for God's sake.
The BJP is not the personal property of a family. The BJP so far is not.
Neither is the Congress for that matter.
Okay, let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. We've heard two sides, and I appreciate two very fine guests for joining me and putting their point across. Tavleen Singh, Sanjay Jha, pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you very much. Okay, let's turn from the Parivarwad controversy to another controversy, this time that puts the Election Commission once again under the scanner. Tonight's Get Real India story, because amidst the ongoing voter list revision nationally, two booth-level officers in two different states have died by suicide, while a third officer in Bengal has threatened to do the same. Families have alleged unchecked pressure, and several other BLOs have said that long hours and an early December deadline by the Election Commission have pushed them to breaking point. The Election Commission now faces questions over workload and accountability. Take a look at tonight's Get Real India story.
Suicides by two booth-level officers in two states, Rajasthan and Kerala, have cast a shadow on the Election Commission's special intensive revision of electoral rolls underway in 12 states and union territories. Mukesh Chand Jangid, a 48-year-old school teacher, took his life in Bindayaka on the outskirts of Jaipur. Jangid, who worked as a BLO, jumped in front of a train on Sunday. The family claims Jangid left a suicide note.
पुलिस के कहने पर मैंने उनकी जेब से तलाश की तो एक में से 500 का नोट और कुछ चाबियां और छोटे कागज थे। मैंने पुलिस वाले को दे दिया और दूसरी जेब पुलिस वाले ने बोला दूसरी जेब में देखो। दूसरी जेब में मैंने निकाला तो एक कागज था। कागज में मैंने खोलते ही उसमें देखा सुसाइड नोट लिखा रखा है। तो मैंने जिस खोलते ही फोटो लेनी या पढ़ने की कोशिश की तो पुलिस वाले ने मेरे से छीन लिया।
They're blaming SIR workload for the suicide.
सुसाइड नोट में लिख रखा है भाई उन्होंने भाई धमकी दे रहे हैं, वो बार-बार धमकी दे रहे हैं, बस सस्पेंड कर देंगे।
इसी SIR के लगे हुए तब से परेशान थे। वो सुबह जल्दी चले जाते, शाम को लेट आते थे। और पिछले 5-7 दिन पहले उनकी मीटिंग हुई थी बम्बोरी, तो वहाँ से भी उनके अधिकारियों ने प्रेशर बना रखा कि आपके काम नहीं हो रहा टाइम पे, आप काम करो, इसलिए प्रेशर उनके पे था।
Jangid's family accused the police of not carrying out a proper investigation. The police denied the charge.
जो रिपोर्ट उसमें दी है, प्रथम सूचना जो दी है उसके आधार पर हमने मर्ग दर्ज की है। उसमें मर्ग भी बिल्कुल FIR की तरह उसी हिसाब से उसमें जांच होती है। जहाँ तक आप बता रहे हैं सुसाइड नोट, जो कथित सुसाइड नोट है, उसके बारे में चूंकि ये जांच का विषय है तो जो जांच उसमें पुलिस उसमें कर रही है, जो भी कंटेंट्स आएंगे उसके अनुसार कार्रवाई करेगी।
In Kerala, 44-year-old Anish George died by suicide allegedly due to pressure linked to SIR duties. Anish was found dead in Kannur on Sunday. The district administration, however, denied any link between Anish's death and SIR. Booth-level officers in the state boycotted work and took out a march on Monday.
ഞങ്ങൾ ജോലി ചെയ്യാൻ തയ്യാറാണ്, പക്ഷെ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് സമയം ഒരു സാവകാശമാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ ആവശ്യപ്പെടുന്നത്. ഞങ്ങൾ സ്ത്രീകളായതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ വീട്ടിൽ പലതരം ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുകളുണ്ട്. കൊച്ചു കുട്ടികളുണ്ട്, എൻ്റെ അച്ഛനമ്മമാർ പ്രായമായവരാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അവരെ ഏൽപ്പിച്ചിട്ട് ഈ കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളെ ഏൽപ്പിച്ചിട്ട് പോകാനുള്ള ഒരു സാഹചര്യമൊന്നുമില്ല. അപ്പോൾ രാത്രി വൈകിയും അതുപോലെ ഒരുപാട് രാവിലെ 7 മണി മുതലൊന്നും ജോലി ചെയ്യാനും ഇറങ്ങിപ്പോകാനും എന്നുള്ള സാഹചര്യം ഞങ്ങളുടെ വീട്ടിലില്ല.
Another issue raised by the BLOs is allotment of areas they are not familiar with.
ഇലക്ഷൻ കമ്മീഷൻ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുകയെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ നമുക്ക് കുറച്ചും കൂടെ സമയം അനുവദിക്കണം. അതുമല്ല അതനുസരിച്ചുള്ള ഹെൽപ്പും കൂടെ കിട്ടണം. ഇതേപോലെ ആരെങ്കിലും ഈ അറിയാന്നുള്ള പരിസരം അറിയാന്നുള്ള ആരെങ്കിലും കൂടെ ഉണ്ട് എങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് കുറച്ചും കൂടെ ഒരു ആശ്വാസമായിരിക്കും.
Meanwhile, a BLO threatened to commit suicide at the Katwa BDO office in East Bardhaman district of Bengal. The incident took place during the SIR form digitization training. BLOs in many states are claiming the December 4 deadline for submitting enumeration forms is unrealistic. Similar demands were made during the Bihar leg of SIR, but the EC did not yield then. Will budge this time? With Devankur Vadhavan and Shivimol KG, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's go to the great legend Sunil Gavaskar himself to get his view on the pitch controversy. Mr. Gavaskar, appreciate you joining us. Now, weighing in on the Eden pitch controversy, Indian coach Gautam Gambhir claimed there were no demons in the pitch, even as the likes of Saurav Ganguly are already raising questions over the quality of the pitch. Was it? What is your view? Do you agree this pitch was unfit for Test cricket?
No, I totally agree with what the Indian coach has said, because there were no demons in the pitch. Yes, the odd ball was going to turn on day 3. I don't think it was a pitch where you get all out for 90 runs like the Indian team did. 124 was gettable, and gettable with at least 5 wickets in hand.
But sir, you are saying that this pitch was not unfit, but the truth of the matter is, sir, right from day one, we saw uneven bounce. The pacers benefited from it. There was sharp turn. Puffs of dust were coming out from the pitch. It started crumbling from day one. How can we say that this was a good cricket wicket or a wicket fit for a 5-day test match?
No, it didn't start to crumble from day one. Not at all. On Indian pitches, you are likely to get a little puff of dust coming. But no, it wasn't a pitch which was crumbling from day one, not at all. I don't think it is something where you could say it was a bad pitch. It was just that the Indians didn't learn anything from what Temba Bavuma did. Temba Bavuma showed you somebody who plays on bouncy pitches back home, that good technique, good temperament, showing a lot of patience, playing with soft hands, not looking to jab at the ball, is something which can help you to score runs. And what did India need? India needed one batter to bat like Temba Bavuma and score 55, not out, and they would have got to 124 without a problem.
No, so it's interesting what you're saying. You're saying it's not so much about the quality of the pitch, but the quality of batting. Because let's be honest also, Mr. Gavaskar, this is the same team which was routinely scoring 400, 500 runs in every match in England just a few months ago. So they are not a bad batting team, surely.
Yes, there is an issue when the ball is doing just a little bit. The pitches in England were pretty what you would call flat pitches. Now, if you want to play Test cricket on flat pitches, fine. But if you want to play cricket where there is a little challenge, that it's not shut for the bowlers completely, that the bowlers also get a little bit of help, then you want to play on a pitch where there might be a little bit of grass, or there might be a little bit of which will help seam movement, or there might be just a little area where the spinners can come into play. And that is what will make Test cricket far more interesting.
But sir, with due regard, the match ends up in 3 days. Now we have ended up losing in India 4 Test matches in a row against the top countries, which has not happened before. Something is seriously wrong, sir. Either the other countries are adjusting faster to such wickets, or as you said, our batsmen need to play spin better. Surely we would have been better off playing on a good cricket wicket that lasts 5 days rather than a wicket that reduces batting to a bit of a lottery. Whoever wins the toss gets a huge advantage, sir.
No. This one was not a lottery. I don't think we should be using all those terms like this was a lottery and all that, because this wasn't a bad pitch. There were no demons in the pitch. I totally agree with the Indian coach. The Indian batters in both the innings did not show the resolve to try and stick around there. Look, you've got to keep your ego in the change room. You cannot also be mentally into a space where somebody tells you, "Arey, this pitch is doing this, so you better go and smash the ball around." No, Temba Bavuma showed you how you should bat. And that is what, and I can understand sometimes, team meetings are held the previous day and you forget the next morning. But here, just an hour or two earlier, the South African captain has given you an exhibition of batting, how to bat on a pitch where there was just a little bit of turn. You saw Simon Harmer. How many deliveries did he turn? You saw Keshav Maharaj. How many deliveries did he turn? He didn't. The odd ball, yes. On day 3, you are going to get the odd ball, which is going to turn. But the point is that the Indian batters, did they show the requisite temperament? I'm not even talking about technique. Sir. You saw Yashasvi Jaiswal start in the second innings. Did you see the first 3 balls, the kind of shots that he attempted? 3 balls, first over. This is what you play. Yeah, eventually got out to a very good delivery. That's another matter. But this is it. So temperamentally you're told, "Arey, maro." While the new ball is there, maro, jitna run ho jayega, maro. But that is not what Test cricket is. Test cricket, you can leave deliveries alone. You can wait for the scoreability. You can look for ones and twos. How many times are you looking for ones and twos? You can't be looking all the time for boundaries and sixes.
No, if you're saying there's a problem with temperament as much as technique, should we be making wholesale changes? Is this the IPL effect, which has meant whole temperament, technique, the idea of batting time no longer exists? Should we make wholesale changes in the team?
Well, you can't make wholesale changes because that does not, send a good signal. But if you want to look at the temperament of some of the guys, and you want to then go by that, do you think that person has got the temperament as well as the technique? If the person doesn't have the temperament or technique, and I'm not saying Jaiswal doesn't have it, maybe he didn't get it right in one game. He's a very, very talented cricketer. But his approach was, in the second innings, was the first 3 deliveries was a little bit hard to understand. They were, but I think what you really need is to look at the temperament and the technique that the others have or did not have. And therefore, you want to make your decisions on that. But, with a test match with just a 2 or 3 day gap, you're not going to be able to make those changes. None of the India international players played domestic cricket. But domestic cricket is where you get pitches where the ball will grip and turn a little bit because teams are trying to get points so that they qualify for the knockouts. And so you look at the domestic scorers, look at the heavy domestic scorers, and then pick them for test matches. Because they are used to playing on pitches like this. Pick them for test matches in India. Because they are used to playing on these kind of pitches. So pick them. But you don't pick them because you've already got an international side going. That is the thing.
You're making a very good point. Pick players based on their domestic form. Maybe for the next 2 or 3 days, these players should watch your great innings in your final test against Pakistan 1987. They can learn how to play with soft hands, the way to play on a sharply turning pitch, Mr. Gavaskar.
No, I think they have to just look at what Temba Bavuma did.
Okay.
Temba Bavuma showed how to play on a pitch where there was something. Even our bowlers, Jadeja, Akshar, did not turn every ball. The odd ball was turning. That's it. Kuldeep, yes, being a wrist spinner, can turn the ball on glass. Wrist spinners turn the ball on glass. They don't need any assistance from the pitch. But how many of Jadeja's deliveries and Akshar Patel deliveries kicked and bounced? Not many. Yes, the odd one did. They're very good spinners. That's why. But that is why I'm saying, when we're talking about the pitch, I think you should be actually talking about the batting, rather than the pitch.
Okay, you've given us a one-liner. Don't talk about pitch. Talk about batting. Sunil Gavaskar, we may agree to disagree on this point, but thank you very much for joining me here on the news today.